All right, dude, we'll let it rip. We'll just get into it. You good to go?
Yeah. I'm ready when you
All right,
are.
brother. Let's have a day. All right, super excited to have Mitchell Pehlke on the show today. I want to start off by complimenting Mitchell, one, as just a representative of the lacrosse community in Northern Virginia. He does a phenomenal job there. And, as I'm getting into this content creation game, becoming more and more aware of how much time and effort and passion he's put into his craft over the years. So I want to compliment him there. I've gotten to know Mitchell a little bit more over the past, I'd say in the summer. Got to work with him a little bit on the field, and we've kept in touch. And, true story, I remember years ago when he was in high school making content and kids came to the field and they were watching his videos. And I was like this hardo coach. And I was like, what are you doing? Like watching YouTube videos where they play like, oh, Mitchell Pehlke video. It's so funny. I was like, it's not funny. What are you doing? Get on the field. You should be watching training videos. What are you kidding me? And then they kept watching them. And I told my boy, Ricky, who and I was like, I'm going to check out one of his videos. And I started watching them and I was like, all right, they're pretty funny. I was like, they're fun. I see why the guys like it, right before you hit the field. I mean, I don't know, but so funny story there. But Mitchell, welcome, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no, I just want to say thank you for having me. It's been a true journey for us. I think building our relationship this past summer and into now has been exciting, and just your knowledge on the field has definitely helped me in the game. So I'm excited.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. Well, I want to be consistent with the show and starting things off. And I'm a big gratitude guy, just kind of raising the energy, focusing on the good stuff. So I know it's 9 a.m., but I'm sure you've already been getting after for the day. Can you narrow in on 3 things that you've experienced today that you can express some gratitude for, just to get the energy flowing?
Yeah, I'd say going to school at Ohio State, especially in the state of Ohio, the sun doesn't really come out too much. And it's flowing today. It is a sunny day in Columbus. So I'm thankful for that. And I just think like one thing I've been starting to do, especially this year, is just waking up and like as soon as my feet hit the floor, just saying thank you, God, just for another day, just to be, breathing and, doing what I love to do, and just another day to be on this beautiful earth. And I say lastly, just like be able to see people, like especially COVID and a year ago, like around this time, just being locked up in my house and not really be see my friends and family and everything. Just that gratitude of just going outside and like seeing people walk around. Like it was a sunny day on campus, like for the first time last week, and just walking around campus, seeing people play football and like different things. Like it's so weird. Like that brings enjoyment to me, but it's like, that's the little things that, you kind of got away with COVID kind of hitting you. So yeah, just like little things like that. It's definitely changed my mindset with COVID and just being more thankful about everything.
That's money, man. I love that. The sun will be out. We can always find that hitting the ground. I love that, being intentional in the morning. And then, yeah, man, the human connection, seeing people smile is a beautiful thing. I love those 3 because those 3, you can look for them each day. That's awesome, brother. I love that.
What would you say is one for yourself?
Oh, today? Well, I was just telling you, man, I went for that long run with my buddy Schwartz, Sensei Schwartz, and he's an Ironman, and I've been jumping into some training with him. And I've told myself my whole life I'm not a runner, so therefore I experience a little bit more resistance to it because I've told myself that story. But getting out there early this morning, crushing a half marathon with him, and really having it without him, I wouldn't have done it, so I can express some gratitude to him. And he got ahead of me a little bit, but then he actually lapped me one time, to be very truthful there. He did lap me, but I'm not ashamed about it. He's a beast. And it was amazing to see how my pace picked up when he circled back, and for him to check in on me. And I could feel it, man. I was so much more into it. So I'm grateful to be reminded of how important having a good team is. And I always want to give a shout out to my team here at Teep House Studio, because they've been very supportive of me and this journey. So it's always good to be around people like that.
Absolutely. I like that.
Yeah. So, I know that you're aware of this as a high performer. You played lacrosse at a really high level here in high school. With your podcast, I'm sure you're very aware, you put your best work in when you're fully present. Right. But I do want to jump ahead and talk about something, like your vision, right. And what you've done for yourself right now. And I'm going to assume that you have kind of an end game in mind, or at least a direction that you want to go in. So can you talk about maybe a vision for your life, for your content, maybe when you first started realizing the direction you wanted to go in?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. And surprisingly, it's something I struggle with currently. Like I definitely have a vision. Like I know I want to do something in video. I know I want to be in front of the camera, but I just don't know what that is, from like broadcasting to acting or just being a YouTuber. Like I truly don't know. And it's something like I'm trying to figure out, but like I just don't know yet. And I think just creating that dialogue of, staying in the space and creating content is only going to help. But I think I really realized like I love doing this, honestly, was last year, getting to Ohio State, freshman year, and really taking, putting YouTube and making videos in the back seat, to just be like, all right, I want to focus on school and everything going on here. But, doing that, it really made me miss it. And I think that's when I really truly realized, I was like, wow, like I really love this thing. So when quarantine started back up like a year ago, I started making videos, and I can tell you right now, I won't stop doing that for the rest of my life. And that was like the biggest thing, like for me to really take a pause and take a step back and put it in the back seat, and then make me realize like, wow, I actually like love doing this. And high school was more of a hobby, but now it's like definitely a career for me. And I'd say just something off the top of my head, like, I don't know, YouTube videos is sometimes like childish to people, or might not seem so like as a job, but like, as you just said, and there's so much that goes into it. It's crazy. And especially now with everything I got going on, school and everything, like amount of time in the day is just not enough. So it's like, I'm always just like catching up. So like little things about using like gratitude and mentorship and just staying positive is true, because especially in today's world, like if you're not working, you're just like lazy. But like at the end of the day, like that shouldn't be the stigma around it.
No, you got to find what you love. I'm so happy for you that you have found that in creating these videos. Would you consider yourself, and have you used the framework of being a storyteller? Because I know you talk about broadcasting, different things, but when you make these videos, do you ever use that term as that you are a storyteller?
I do in my head. I just honestly don't like to say it out loud, because I make me think of like some California, like just like cuffed pants, just like storyteller that like, I don't know. I'm just a lax guy. I feel like just a lax bro, just like making videos. But I don't like to use a storyteller, because I don't know. I feel like a Johnson. Honestly.
Totally. I got it. I like
it. Yeah. Like when I go into videos, like if I have like a plot or a setting, like I try to make a story out of it, definitely. But like in the sense of me holding the camera up and getting my boys involved, like you can't say it like that. Like they're lax guys. They have no like, sort of, relationship with video. So you kind of make it fun to them without like the storytelling vibe and making it so like director boring like that. So I think that's definitely the problem. But yeah, I think I go into my videos with just like that storytelling mindset. Like if I have to get this point across, how am I going to make everything in the middle, enjoyable for the viewer?
Absolutely. So I guess like when you are, because you're the main character and you are the author, you're writing it up, so I guess potentially when you're doing it in the action, you got to keep it live. You got to keep it fun. You're the main character. And then when you go back to editing, that's kind of when the timing and maybe the storytelling aspects come in. But to your term, being a storyteller is a Johnson. So I'll just cut that one out of my vocab for a little bit, which is hysterical. But when you talked about the skills when around creating content, right? And you mentioned a couple things there. Can you narrow in? And I want to think back, from creating videos, and you say it was a hobby when you were doing it in high school, but you did it consistently. So it was a very purposeful hobby. It wasn't, just when, it seemed like you were consistently putting out content and the videos were high quality and always getting better. And then to now, can you kind of narrow in some of the skills that you've really developed that you're really grateful for in regards that the passion helped you grow into this person?
Yeah, I just say, same with lacrosse. I got to a high level by picking up the stick every day. And, I'm at this high level of YouTube because I pick up the camera every day and film or edit. And I just think like on your point of staying consistent, like if you want to be good at anything, you got to be consistent at it. And I think just there flat out is kind of how I've got to wherever I am today in that industry. I'd say too, is just like learning a lot, especially in YouTube. You don't really have a coach. It's more of just like go on YouTube and type in how to do this effect or how to do this transition. And it's a lot of like trial and error. So I'd say on that part, like us creators call it YouTube University because you can learn anything on it. And especially in the creator space, like you learn so much. So we always call it YouTube University. But I just say too, like one person I got to give a shout out to, and you might know him as Colin and Samir, the ones who really brought up the lacrosse network. a couple years ago, they decided to take their own path and dive into YouTube and really hit on the creator space of like content. And I've been watching and listening to a lot of their podcasts, and just the advice they give out is so perfect, because they kind of hit that genre that I'm in, like not huge YouTuber, not small, kind of in that middle. Yep. And it just like taking things away and always being eager to like learn more and everything. Mm-hmm. I just think it is the perfect recipe to get better. And at the end of the day, you just got to stay consistent.
Totally. I think the consistency and the curiosity to learn I mean, if you are consistently curious about a craft, you're definitely going to get better at it, no doubt. All right. So on the note of consistency, this is a new piece that I've heard recently, and everyone of the coaches talk about 1% better every day. All right. So 1% of 24 hours is 14 minutes and 24 seconds. Okay. If you get 1% better every day for a year, you're 38 times better than you were at the start. And I think it's a powerful thing. I think a lot of coaches say it. I think a lot of kids hear it and they don't realize, man, 14 and a half minutes a day. What can I do? So what are some things that you did in high school? Could be lacrosse, could be YouTube, that you can say without a doubt, man, I definitely did that for 14 minutes, 24 seconds every single day without fail.
Yeah, I'd say you kind of hit it. The wall ball piece is definitely something I've always been doing. It's one of those things, like you say, you go on runs, it clears your minds, like just 30 minutes of wall ball, of kind of getting a little sweat, listening to a podcast or music, putting the phone down and just really attacking your craft and getting better. It's definitely something I've done since like sophomore year of high school and will continue to do until I have to stop playing. But yeah, just like 30 minutes of wall ball a day. I tell everyone it adds up. And I think it's such an important part of the game. Like stick skills in the game of lacrosse, I'd say is the most important aspect besides like obviously running. And I'd say from the YouTube standpoint, like Jesse James West hit it. And when me and him had a podcast, but being a good consumer of content, I think is super key in this creative industry. Like seeing what this guy is doing on YouTube and trying to add some of that aspect into your videos, and just always doing that on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and these different platforms of just always trying to, recreate yourself. Because at the end of the day, like if you don't change in this creator space, like people are going to forget about you. So I think always evolving is definitely key.
I love that. One of the things that I've been really big on for a while, and I mentioned it on my other podcast, being a hunter of both inspiration and information, right? Daily, being curious to find things that are going to keep you inspired, and finding information. For me as a coach, I'm following all these other coaches and mentors that I really respect. I'm seeing what they're up to. I'm still scrolling through YouTube when I get bored, looking for different drills and things like that. And then also now getting ready to, put up more content. I'm keeping an eye out for those things as well. Where would you say you gather some of your inspiration and information daily? Do you have a specific set of things? Are there some people that you follow? Are there some books that you like to read for either or inspiration or information?
Not really, honestly. Like I just like love it. So I just attack it. Yeah. I just attack it. Yeah. Every day. And like, I don't know, like lacrosse YouTube, like I don't really have anyone that I look up to. I think like just the aspect of like, especially in YouTube, like I have one mindset going into it, and it's just to make people smile. Like that's the only thing I want out of you watching my videos, to make you laugh and smile and, bring light to my day. And that really kind of happened. The first video on my YouTube channel is me giving my boy a terrible haircut. And it was so funny. And I went to school the next day and just saw everyone laughing at it. And then getting DMs of like, wow, that video made my day. Just like that feeling, like I'm chasing that like every video. Cause I mean, everyone needs a laugh in life. Like I truly feel that. And that's like the only thing I attack every day. And I don't know, just getting up, and sometimes, the editing process is brutal, but I know the final piece is going to be beautiful. So that's why I always just am inconsistent with it.
I mean, I'm sure you've heard, being around some great coaches, you gotta have your why, right? Why are you doing things? And that was the first thing that popped out of your mouth, right? You went right to, this is my first video. This is why I started doing it. And when you go through that grueling editing process, you keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And that's a powerful tool. And it's hard for a lot of people, especially your age or younger, to be able to narrow that down, and here the key is that can be enough inspiration. You don't even need to go hunting for it if you got that going. So that's a powerful piece there. Going back to some skills, we're going to come back to that haircut video in a little bit. Going back to some skills, I know you have to be dialed in with your time management, and there's just no way you're putting out the content you do, the grades, both in high school and college, and you don't have the calendar going. So can you talk to me about when, because a lot of the kids, most of the podcasts, I want to engage the kids here in Loudoun County in Northern Virginia, right? It'll grow, but those are the guys I want to reach. Can you talk about in high school, maybe some tactics that you used, maybe use now in college that really help your time management skills and how important that's been to your just day-to-day grind and success?
Yeah, I think like I've always been an early riser, and that's something to me. Like I've been waking up at 6 and going to bed at 10 since like freshman year of high school. That's just kind of always been my thing. And yeah, in high school, like I knew I wanted to create a lot of content, and I knew I had to practice and work out every day. So it was just like setting that Google Calendar and really set in stone of like, okay, I can do this. And my high school schedule kind of went like get up at 6 and get showered and everything, get to school at 7, edit from 7 to 9, and school starts at 9, ends at 4, then hit practice from 4 to 6, or if it's the off season, work out between then, go home, have dinner, family time, and then 10 o'clock you're in bed, and it's the same thing over again. And obviously filming in between. But just, I think that's what people, and especially college students, lack at is just a schedule. Yeah. Like my roommates will go to bed at like 1 a.m. and wake up at 8. And like, if I were to just stay up all night and like watch TV or scroll through Instagram, like I'd get like so depressed. Like, what am I doing? I feel like a loser. Yeah. And I think getting up early and having a schedule to attack and follow a script every day is something that I truly need and can't live without. And I accomplish so much with it.
100%. Yeah. It's something that I struggled with in high school and college. And it's a lot easier to stick to the plan once you get it done, and I was just talking to some of my high school athletes yesterday, and we got 3 weeks till the season really kicks off. Yeah. And I was like, if you don't have it yet, do a 21-day plan. Like it'll take you 20, 30 minutes. Let's just sit down, do the next 21 days, call me if you need help. But just, I think guys I think we have the motivation a lot of times, with the organization piece. Sometimes we lack. So I'm not surprised. I mean, I've changed my habits. I don't know, maybe a few years ago, I really started to get in bed earlier, and just a total game changer, and something I wish I started to implement in high school. And I got a lot of kids staying up late, man. I'm trying to tell them, trying to show them the way. So hopefully, when they hear it from you, it'll be a little bit different.
So I think it's just huge. I think it's huge.
With that, and you just nailed on one of them with sleep. For you to be able to do this for so long at a high level, what are some of the foundational things to your health, right? The things that are helping your recovery and help you thinking well and moving well. What are some things you look back on and you're like, yep, without a doubt, I hit those, or maybe now it's like that. These are my daily things that I do to build up a foundation of health.
Yeah. So in high school, like that 10 to 6 was definitely implemented, but I didn't really start to take it seriously until I got to college and playing more and working out more and putting more strain in your body. I was like, all right, I need to take this serious, because the last thing I want is an injury. So 8 hours of sleep is definitely the first on the list. Like if I got to wake up at 5 a.m., I'm going to bed at 9, and just like, no matter what time I'm waking up, it's definitely adjusting. And then I do say, I want to go back to my point of having that strict schedule, like Monday through Friday, it's tough. Like it gets grueling sometimes, but on Saturday and Sunday, like I have no schedule, like wake up whenever I want and grind on the laptop, because if I were to go 7 days in a row, then do that 7 again and again and again, then I'd be burned out. And to your point, just like having that time for yourself is huge. And that's why Saturday and Sunday, like I edit, but it's not as grueling, and I try to hang out with my friends more and everything. Yeah. But going back to your point, like sleep is definitely one. Like gallon of water, I do like 1 or 2 of these a day is huge. And then stretching, like that is the thing I lack the most. Like I can go down to like the middle of my shin, and it's just like, I was in the weight room yesterday and our coaches are like laughing at us, and it's brutal, but at the same time, it's something like my pops wasn't flexible, and I obviously got that and haven't worked on it until now. So it's going to happen over time, but so 8 hours of sleep, gallon a day, stretching mornings and nights, and then just eating healthy. Yeah. Like freshman year, like 8 canes every weekend, just like
what was that? Chicken, it was my fried chicken or something?
Yeah, raising canes just every weekend and going out, and I don't know, it's just like something that kind of evolves over time. Like I don't know, you just I feel so good when I eat healthy.
Yeah.
And that, then there's the domino effect of me working harder and me being able to go faster. So it all kind of lines up with each other. And I just think like my mom always told me I have a mature mindset. And I do think that's true. And just learning that early in my life is only going to set me up for more success later in life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You touched on a lot of foundational pieces. And I love the awareness of, I got to get up at 5, I'm going to sleep at 9, and that simple rule. And it takes time to develop that habit and that consistency. But I think that is number one, the sleep, the hydration, and then thinking well, which you touched on, when your feet hit the floor in the morning, right? Just thanking God for being alive, being grateful for that, and choosing to look at things in a positive way, right? When we're thinking well, we're moving well, we're feeling well. So, and you're right, it all coincides and they all feed off of each other. And it's this beautiful cycle. And that's really the stuff that I'm so passionate about teaching the younger kids now. And one of the things you touched on, feeling so good, I heard this line when I got surgery freshman year in college, and I was a mess, man. I was eating canes every day. I was a mess. And it was Zaxby's though in Newport News. It was bad. Yeah. And I got surgery, and when I wasn't thinking well, but I told myself, once I get surgery, I'm changing the game and I'm going to change my whole lifestyle, every little detail. And after about 2 months of just being as clean and focused as you could be, I was just in a flow. I felt amazing. And I remember listening to a podcast, and the guy was about health, and the guy goes, humans don't realize how good they are supposed to feel. Right. And I was like, man, that's so true. I've been eating this junk food. I haven't been hydrating my whole life. And I don't blame anybody except myself. The research, the information was out there. And I remember hearing that, man, when like a lot of people, I think that the struggle is we just don't know how good we can feel until we really commit to taking care of ourselves. I'm really happy for you that at your age, you've already dialed that in. That's going to be big for you going forward. So one of the things I wanted to talk about, building skills, it seems like the most recent content thing that you're doing is Pehlke Talk and your podcast. And I've been listening to a few of them. And as I get this podcast going, I said in my first episode, one of the reasons I'm doing this is to build skills, right? It's not about what I'm going to get from it. It's about who I'm going to become by doing it. Yeah. In that scenario, what has it helped you build in your skill set? Just running the podcast, not the YouTube channel, just the podcast specifically.
That's kind of funny. You hit on building skills and becoming better. Like I have this quote right here. It says, who you are becoming is more important than who you've been. I heard it on TikTok actually, and I love it. And
so you're here you go though. You're a hunter of inspiration. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Don't tell me you're just a dog all day. All right. You feed that dog. No, you do.
It's true. It's one of those things like I don't search for it, but when it comes across me, I'm like, yeah, I love that.
There it is.
And but yeah, on Pehlke Talk, like just sitting down with like you or anyone and just having conversation is just so easy to me, and I love it. Like I can talk to anyone, and I just think that aspect of it, of just like meeting new people and just the amount of connections and different things that come with just a 30-minute Zoom call that's recorded and you put it on YouTube, it is crazy. And at the end of the day, on my channel, like it doesn't get a lot of views, and it's something I really don't, prioritize all my time, because I just look at it as a connection builder. I'm just building my wallet of networking and connections so I can use later in my life. And, some people want their podcast to be their main thing and others don't. And I think that's totally fine. But for me, just the learning aspect of learning these people's lives and the research part of like how to find different things about people and how to ask these questions, how to shape these questions in the live format. Like we're recording right now. As soon as you click record, we're live for 30 minutes to an hour, and it's kind of like broadcasting, which I hit on in the beginning. So just, different aspects. And at the end of the day, like I have another quote up here.
Hunter, he's a dog.
This guy that is the head of content for the LA Clippers, he said, can you do Final Cut? Can you do Photoshop? Can you do After Effects? Add value to your name. And I think the more skills that you have, the more value to your name. And I think that's so important.
Dude, absolutely, man. You're spot on with that. Yeah. A couple other things I always like to touch on with guys, right? So I'm big, and we've had conversation about the mentorship side of things. I'm all in on mentorship and building it into my coaching, trying to get more coaches to realize the power that they have in a young person's life, trying to help them be committed to building the skills so that they can really leverage that position and empower the people that they coach. And I think it's just the quickest accelerant, right? The fastest way to grow. All right. Because some of the things that I know, it's going to take years for a 7th or 8th grader to figure out. Right. And some of the things that my people that help me in business and coaching that are in their 50s, right. It's years. It's hard for me to fathom all the lessons that they've learned that they can boil down into a conversation. Right. Can you think about some mentors, maybe in high school, that really stepped into your life, taught you some key skills, maybe helped you when you were down, or continue to help build you up, that really shaped your direction?
Yeah, actually one comes to mind quick. So freshman year, I went to Stonebridge and then transferred to Riverside for my last 3 years. And when I transferred over, first guy I met was this guy named Scott Valier, Mr. Valier, a guidance counselor there. And he was my guidance counselor.
He was my guidance counselor at Broad Run.
Really?
He's a dog. He's the guy, man. He's the guy.
Yeah. So he's a guy like truly cares about like the people that he's counseling, and just building that relationship with him. Like I still call him like once a month just to check in. Went hunting with him over winter break.
Nice.
And just a guy like is like a father figure to me. I honestly go to about any problem I had in my life, and he's actually a guy that, like you said, always hits on the gratitude part. Like he loves gratitude and everything, and that's really kind of came off on me, and I always say that as well. And just a guy like him that I could go to, just not a guy that honestly doesn't understand social media and is just like a being present guy.
Yeah.
Is someone like I needed, because I could go to him about a problem and he wouldn't like relate it back to like fame, followers, or anything. Just give me like a realistic answer. I thought was so cool in the beginning, and just creating that dialogue with him and building our relationship over the years. Like definitely a guy I can say off the bat is just someone I can go to about anything, has helped me through this whole process of life.
Absolutely. It's really funny. Been talking about mentors on these shows I'm doing, and it feels like each one I have a different person that comes up and different time in my life. And he was there, helped me get ready for college and all 4 of my high school years at Broad Run. But specifically, and I haven't thought about this in years, right? I was a heavy set guy growing up, right? So freshman year, I was like, all right, it's time to lose some weight. And I would go to Broad Run at like 7 a.m. before school and lift. And I had 2 older guys. They were the 2 strongest guys in school, Tyler Johnson and Kenny McAdow. And they were like, yeah, you can come lift with us in the mornings. And they lifted with Mr. Valier. And it was those 3 guys and me. But you know what, man, that environment helped shape me, because every morning that whole spring, I would just get up and go lift with them. And the intensity that they brought to their weight room, and just being healthy, and looking back on that, like that really shaped me. And I wasn't really fully aware of it. I was just like, I just need to cut some weight. I just need to get in better shape. But now looking back on it, it definitely kind of stoked that fire for getting in the weight room and trying to be my best. I'm going to have to reach out to him, check in on him. Is he still at Riverside?
No, he's actually back at Broad Run this year.
Needed him.
Yeah.
I'm reaching out.
That. But I think, to your point, like, I think being around, like, I don't know the other 2 guys that you're with, but I feel like just being around like more high intense, positive people can really show you how much like that'll change you. Like my mom would always say, I've heard this quote, like the 5 people you hang around with are really going to start to shape you and who you act like. And I think just like, that's a perfect point of being around positive, impactful people. Like your whole mindset is soon enough going to change. And I think that, like, as I'm getting older, like I can seek out a negative person in a second. And like, I hate that. Like I will never hang out with you if you're just a negative cat.
Yeah. An author, James Clear, wrote Atomic Habits. Absolutely amazing. And a quote that popped up the other day on his Instagram from the book was that your environment is the invisible hand that shapes you and your habits, maybe like your beliefs and stuff, but it really is. I mean, it is a super powerful thing that, you'll just start changing. You just hang around the right people. You don't even have to consciously think about it. You'll just start changing your behavior. You'll change the way you talk, the way you walk. It's super important. I think that's why every coach at every level, I mean, it's always culture, right? Because they know that environment is what's going to make the difference. It's massive. So one of the things, I remember listening and watching the YouTube years ago, and even now, like, there's a lot of funny sayings, right? And you're really good at emphasizing a specific saying here and there and highlighting. And I mean, years ago, it was like, yeet, right? That was one of them.
Yeet. Yeah,
I remember that. Same with the invisible hand that shapes you. I started saying it like
Really?
out on the field, right? And I wasn't even like watching all the time. What are some of the funny sayings that stick out to you? Maybe the ones that you're on right now that just give you a good chuckle.
I don't know. Like back in the day in high school, like one of them was silly. Like I just say like that's silly or like yo that's silly or something, just like silly. Or another one was like teed up, like when you're fired up, you're just teed up. And yeah, I don't know. I just think like it's funny you say that because like my 6 homeboys like I'm tight with and will forever be tight with. Like they say like they hear these sayings and they're like so annoyed because like I'm the type of guy that like if I find a new word and I love it and it's catchy, like I'm just gonna say it and say it and say it and just till it gets like embedded in your mind and you start saying it. And it's just the nature of me. But I don't know. I think that the sayings are cool and it's kind of cool how like it comes with time. Like I probably won't say silly now, but it was huge like in high school and teed up was cool like my senior year. And I don't think I've found one yet, but like I don't know one like I've been saying cap recently, like when some guy's just talking and I think he's lying cap, and it just gets them mad because I'm a big fan of just like stirring the pot and like making people mad because I think it's so funny. But yeah, I just think like it's just another aspect of like Mitchell Pehlke YouTube and trying to get you to laugh. And I don't know, I just love it.
No, I think it works, man. And you do a good job emphasizing those things and making it funny. Yeah, I'm around. I mean, I spend more time with middle school and high school kids than I do people my age, which cracks me up. It's a lot of fun. But I've heard cap a lot and I had to be like, what's that? Like, what's going on with that? You know, it's like real, like,
see, I think that's good though, that like you're an older guy. Like, I think that's when people start to fall off when you're getting older and you lose touch with what's hip.
Yeah.
Like then you start to separate yourself. Like I think of my dad, for example, like he dresses like an old man, button down khakis every day, doesn't know any of the sayings. I'm like, dude, you got to go with the time. So like, that's showing me like when I have kids, like when I'm getting older, like I don't want to lose that at all.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think I may not say cap and I may not say some things that I think sound silly, but being around them and just being in tune with the younger kids, I think it's actually a strength of my coaching, the fact that I'm just with them all the time.
And at the end of the day, and what I've learned, doing through YouTube and definitely Colin Smear is like, the more relatable you are, the more you're going to succeed and people are going to like you. And I think that's why, my content, people like it is because it's so relatable. College kids can relate to me, lacrosse players can relate to me, and that's why they watch me. And I think like the fact that you're relatable to these kids, they like you, so they want to keep training with you and they want to be all about you. I think that's the cool part that you realize, and some of these other coaches have this old school mindset and it's hurting them.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Well, I love what I do, and my plan is to stay on the field forever. And it's just so much fun. And being around the kids, man, I laugh a ton. They're so funny. I was doing a clinic. Now, this is super young, but I was doing a clinic the other day with these 8U kids. Yeah. And this one kid, he said something about ice cream. And I was like, oh, Wes, like you're buying the boys ice cream after this? And then the whole practice, they're like, no, you're buying ice cream. I'm not buying them. Like everyone turned on Wes. And dude, we were just laughing and it was so great. And I was like, what am I doing, man? I'm like cracking up with these 8-year-old kids, but it was so much fun. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's great stuff. I got to do a few more questions here and I'll let you go. I know you got to stay on your schedule. One more on a serious note, but we talk about resiliency, right? And gratitude and optimism and a positive outlook is huge in resiliency. And the question is, when is a time that you've had a breakdown, and when is a time that you've had a breakthrough caused by some adversity, right? And we've kind of, and I'm sure there's been times where you felt a little bit burnt out and it caused you to really make a hard stop. And then other times you've had some adversity and you just keep pushing. And the next thing you know, whether it's you get X amount of subscribers or you hit a good break or your skill goes through the roof, whatever it is. So you can think of a time where maybe you kind of burnt it a little bit too much. And then another time you pushed through and saw some results.
Yeah. I mean, burnt it. Like that's something I think I do like once a month of just like going and going and going. And, on that point of like, oh God, I don't want to do this is when I realized like, all right, I got to take some time for myself, go out, watch some Sopranos, hang out with the guys.
Yep.
And just hang out. So the burning out part is something that's I don't want to say consistent, but does happen often. And I do have to get better at that.
Yep.
But on the fact of like resilience and kind of breaking through, I just think it goes back to like high school lacrosse, and especially freshman year of high school, you know, coming in with this big name and people knowing who you are and not really performing to your level of, what these people expect was hard for me. And I think the first time dealing with pressure, it was tough. Like, I don't know, being a 15-year-old with a big name and having to perform, like, I don't care what sport you're talking about. Like, it's tough at a young age. And I think freshman year of not, putting as many points on the board and not winning a state championship definitely helped me out and for the future, and knowing how to deal with that and gaining the confidence and really building, up to my name of playing to that level, and knowing like, even though you're a young guy, you can still be a big leader and contributor to this team. And I just think the confidence part of that was huge for me.
Totally.
And I think just that whole aspect of like coming in, not playing to the potential of others, like really helped me and has helped me to this day of at college.
I love it. I love it. You kind of touched on some being younger, and we're coming to the last questions, right? I got this, the thought of like time travel. All right. If you could go back specific time in your high school career and, whisper in your ear, right? Like something, maybe it's like, keep going. Can you think of a time where you wish you could go back and give yourself some advice? What you know now, you wish you knew then, type thing.
I just say like, just stop worrying. Like, I don't know if it's like an Italian thing or just like a Pehlke thing, but like this family worries so much.
Yeah.
And it's about like the dumbest things. Like I can think back to like one time in high school, like I couldn't sleep because I didn't remember like a password to like one of my accounts or something so dumb.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just like go back and just like tell myself like, dude, what are you worrying about? Like, it's going to be fine. Like, you're going to college, like you're healthy, your family's healthy, like stop worrying about these little things. And that's something I'm realizing with time, just to stop like stressing out. Like, it's pointless. Like, and a lot of those things that I'm worrying about is out of my control. So it's even more pointless. So I just say like, if I could go back, I'd wish for myself and just say, stop worrying and just be in the present moment and, continue to, do what you love to do, playing lacrosse and making videos and making people smile.
Fire me up, dude. That's it, bro. Yeah. That is it.
Yeah.
I think about a lot of coaches saying, control the controllables. And the activity that I'm trying to get kids to do now is get a piece of paper out, put a line down the middle, and on the one side, what I can't control, and on the other side, what I can control. Because then if you do that, weekly, you then get reminded. And I still, all the time, I don't think it'll ever change. I'll catch myself worrying about something that's totally out of my control. But now I have the process of going, all right, wait a minute. What can I control? Well, I can control my breathing. I control my perspective, my energy, where my attention goes. What can't I control? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, here we go. Let me step back into what I can control. But I was one of those kids, coaches were just like, control, you can control. And I'm like, the hell does that even mean, man?
Yeah, it's tough at a young age.
You got to have a skill. You have to have the skill and the practice, and I think for you, like, you've learned that subconsciously or through effort, right? Recognizing out of my control, let me get back into it. Super powerful there. And
I think kind of going off your point, sorry to cut you off. Like, I think like in a position you're in with really teaching younger kids in high school and college kids, like the fact that you're giving them the mentorship is something like they're only getting from you. Like in school, they're messing around. Teachers are giving them A's and B's. And when they're on the practice field with the coaches, they're telling them the script. But like, you're the only guy like I can think of. Like, I wish I had someone like you growing up to like show me, different mentorship. And especially like at Ohio State here, like they give us like free sports psych visits, because it's needed. And I think a lot of colleges are starting to do that because it's so important, especially when you get to the college level. And I think that you're offering it to these young kids is so important, and they're going to learn so much and maybe not realize it in the beginning, but once they go to college or go on with it later in life, like they're going to realize it and be like, wow, like Maves was the man. I'm so glad he told me all these things.
No cap. I really appreciate that. I don't want to knock. I know there's so many of those teachers there that, they have other things I got to cover, but they at the heart and their why is caring and mentoring those kids. Yeah. I just think I'm uniquely positioned with lacrosse and the time that I have with them where I can focus on it. But I really do appreciate it. And where I see the direction going of coaching, we've talked about this. I see it as, coaches are starting to be more aware and they're getting more skilled. And that's what I'm hopeful for. And that's kind of the reason I want to start this content, because I don't want to be the only guy doing this in Loudoun County, right? I want a team of people doing this for everybody in every sport. And then, so last question, and we'll end on this, you're from this area. We grew up in the same town. I care about this lacrosse community and the community as a whole immensely. I think about it daily. I know you do as well. What do you think, and you can answer this, what do you think the kids need? What do you want to see from Northern Virginia lacrosse? What's the direction that you want to see it go in? And I'll lead it with this. I want to see the mentorship space and caring for our kids and putting their health, their fundamental health, as a priority. But I also want to see Northern Virginia lacrosse be the premier hotbed. Like, that's my other side of this part. Like, I don't just go out and get reps. I'm not sharpening hockey stops for no reason. All right. We're trying to be elite over here. You know what I mean? So what would you say some things that you want to see in the community?
I think just one thing, like I heard it on a video the other day, like be more, I think Loudoun County Lax needs to be more New York City. Like everyone's got each other's back. Everyone's going to train with each other. Just because you go to Stonebridge and this kid goes to Riverside, like, you guys aren't rivals, maybe for that 60 minutes when you're playing, but go out and train with each other. You guys are two top players. Like, go do it. There's no, like, just because you're a rival, dude, it's high school lacrosse. Like, stop taking it so seriously. So I'd say, like, be more like, I say, like New York City, like, just have each other's back. Don't be like LA where you don't really care about everyone. And I'd say too, just like, making it important that you're having fun, like, doing it. Like, obviously it's something you work toward, and obviously you want to play Division I lacrosse, but enjoy the process. And I think sometimes I get wrapped up in, I got to go do 30 minutes of wall ball. I got to go do it. Like, be thankful you're able to do that. And that's a mindset I've definitely adapted to this year and going to continue to adapt to. But, like, go out and smile. Like, get the Rap Life playlist on Apple Music going, and get the speaker and get the net and go out and just have a fun time with your guys, because that's what it's all about.
I completely agree. You've hit on so many great things. And at the end, they're taking care of each other. Having fun to me is being present, right? Because if you're worried about other stuff, you're not having too much fun. You're in the moment. You've touched on so many great things. You have tremendous influence, and you use that influence wisely, definitely beyond your years. The kids that I train, the kids in the community, they look up to you. You're doing a great job representing this area. I'm proud to know you and to be able to work with you a little bit. And I'm looking forward to watching you grow as a player, as a person, as a YouTube content creator. And dude, your future's bright, my man. Like, I'm so excited to just see it grow.
Thank you.
It's all exciting stuff. And I wish you the absolute best. Let's just own the rest of the day. We don't even worry about anything else. Just the rest of the day. Let's just make this one great.
I love that. Yeah. No, I appreciate your time. And like I said, just continuing to build our relationship and getting back home after when the summer hits around and training more in the lacrosse aspect is something I'm looking forward to. Just thank you again.
Can't wait, brother. Can't wait, my man. Take care, bro.
Thank you. You too.
Peace.